And here we are. Here we are. Salt Wolves of the Whale Road for Gallant Knight Games. Tonight, my objective is to draw in rivers. My brain temporarily went towards labeling this map, and I think that's going to be an interesting endeavor, but that is a problem for future Phaeton. Today, it is all about those rivers. So let's zoom in, let's see what we're dealing with here, and let's ease ourselves in to a little mapping goodness. Welcome if you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch later on. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I know there are some of you out there that like to follow along. The labeling on that. Future me is going to be so angry, but screw her. Let's talk about rivers. So rivers, I think, belong on this map for a couple of different reasons. Point one, this is a Viking map. They're going to care about those rivers. And I think, honestly, it could stand alone right there. Point two, I think it's actually going to make the map more visually interesting. So I do want to get the rivers in place. I'm going to actually do it on a completely different layer. And I think the layer we're going to work on is going to be above the ink layer and above colouring. We're going to put it right here. And I'm going to keep the river simple. I'm thinking about just simple blue lines. This is drawn 1,000 years ago, after all. It's a little bit advanced for a map 1,000 years ago, but we don't want to get too over-engineered with this. You know what I'm saying? That has to be the princess. Hello, darling. How are you? I need a reference. I need a reference because there was a really good map I was working off last night, and it does make this map really freaking huge, so I was chopping it out as it was going. I think it's this one. I think it's this one. So I'm actually going to bring this in. I actually think we're going to be using this quite a bit, by the way, this particular version of the map. Or this reference right here. Hey, princess, I'll tell you what, chill days are so freaking important. I can't even begin to explain. You gotta have them. You gotta have them. It's very, very easy for us to burn out, you know what I mean? Come on. Come on. Yeah. This is a big freaking map. It's slowing everything down. What's the best way of me doing this? Making it even bigger? You know what? Let's try it. Let's try it. Princess, did you get your movie-a-thon thing done? I didn't see any update from that. Hey, hanging out with Dave. Dave, cool peeps. Very talented individual. Alright, so is this a good way of doing this? Probably freaking not. But I'm gonna try it anyway. I'm a little bit concerned that this map is getting very large. Oh, you filmed it. Not happy? Might redo it. Oh no, gotta rewatch movies? Would you rewatch the same movies or what? Okay, we're not bothering with a river there. I don't think we're going to bother with a river there. trying to figure out the best way of approaching this. You wouldn't rewatch the same movies. That makes sense. Well, yeah, I mean, so if we kind of approach this, I guess it would fall something like that. Now, I'm not going to worry about that one right now. So this one, see, right here, it looks like we have, let's try that colour. We'll be able to change, if I'm drawing this on a separate layer, which I am, we will be able to actually change this colour to anything we want after the fact. So let's just do it like this. So there was a river next to this settlement right here that kind of comes up into the center here. So if we did something like that, then there's another one next to this that kind of comes up on the opposite direction. So if we do something like that, then if we turn that layer off, the net result would be something like this. And then we're going to add mountains and everything to the center there. Yeah, it might blend in a little bit, but let's just get them drawn, and then we'll decide if we want to change the color. Let's take that approach. Who does the guidelines, Princess? Like, who determines that? Is it you? Is it someone else? I think there's a river right here. So I guess I'll do something like that, I suppose. Ryan Chataway, he pitched the idea 10 years ago. Okay. Not heard of him. Come here. Come here. There we go. Come on. Move. I'm just approximating this. We do definitely need to get drawn on here. The Thames. And from here, there's one that comes down that way. Actually, this river I'm drawing right now, I remember drawing that on Britannia. Forget what the bloody river's name was now. And then we've got one that's coming up. What? So we've got this little hook, and then it comes up to the top of the hook up here. Really? This river here does all of that? Okay. And yeah, let's do it this way. I guess. We'll see if that works. Britannia was an awesome map. Hopefully you feel the same when we're finished with this one. I want the same kind of level of awesomeness with it, I gotta be honest with you. I'm kind of shooting for something pretty epic, you know? I just want it to look balls to the wall amazing. I want it to be the type of thing that you can print off on canvas and it'll just look so sexy. That's my plan. Who knows? Maybe it'll be a little thing, you know, kind of drawing these sort of semi-historical maps. There we go. I just wanted to kind of get that to have a better fit. It's going to make this to be so much easier in the long run. There we go. Thank you, Princess. I really appreciate that. And I like to think that we do a pretty good job with our maps, right? And I'd like to think that we are getting better each time. That each time we add something just a little new, a little different. And that we're evolving. Look at all of the rivers in Spain there. Oh my god. I don't even know where these rivers are going. I guess these rivers are running into these lakes. So you know what? Let's just do a level of that. I don't think, honestly, the monk would give a damn about this. And I don't think that the Vikings would really give a shit about it either. But let's get them on there. And we are going to... Holy scamoly. You know, if these end up being too much, we can always delete some. You know what I mean? We can get rid of some of these rivers. This one's weird. Like... Is this a river? Right, can I hide my settlements for a moment? And I guess my... Oh, colouring for the settlements. Let's get rid of that. You know, I'm actually going to merge these two layers together. I think we're ready. I think they can be merged. Princess, thank you. Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I tend to agree with you. And you know what makes me better that way? Twitch streaming it with guys and girls just like yourself. Why won't these merge? Yeah, you're constantly pushing me, you know? You're constantly suggesting more and more and more, and it's good. That's what keeps me outside my comfort zone, without a doubt. This river, to flow from here and not go down that way, it's got to be on the other side of a mountain, so we're going to do it like that. I do have a layer for the rivers, yes. Because in that way, I can independently change it, do whatever I want, and change the colour of the rivers if I want, just by changing the colour of that layer. Chuck, damn good to see you, my friend. Chuck, you probably haven't been on the channel long enough for you to hear me say, we do not do sensible things in our Photoshop. No, Doge. No, Sensei. We do not do proper masks. No, Sensei. We merge our layers ahead of time. Yes, Sensei. We delete left and right and center. Yes, Sensei. I get to a point where I just commit. Now, there's certain things, I know my buildings, I can just merge them. I'm not changing those buildings. But it's just the building ink and the colouring underneath. If I'm going to get rid of a building altogether, I'll just get rid of the whole lot in one go. But you'll notice that my waves, my different types of blues for the water underneath, the hatches, I've kept all of them separate because I might resize some things later on. So if I'm not confident, I'll keep them separate. Redeem layer. Now it's just... it's a sensible thing to do. I am absolutely, like, not arguing with that by any stretch. But no one says I do sensible things. On Teagle, I did once over merge, and I lost a layer, and I don't even know when I lost it. And it was like a shadows layer, and it kind of got merged in with a whole bunch of other stuff. Look at this river too, running downhill, so close to the coast. There's this mountain range up the top here, so we are definitely going to be drawing that mountain range in. This is one reason why I actually wanted to get these rivers in place, so it would help me understand where the mountains and hills are going to be. But yeah, I have screwed up occasionally in over merging and things like that, and I do try to keep them separate. But at the point where, you know, I just want to clean up my layers a little bit, I'll just toss them out. But I have to feel pretty confident that it's the right thing to do. Like, what is going on here? Like, what is this? This is hard to see, but I assume it comes out to the coast there. And if there's any inaccuracy to what I'm drawing, I'm just going to blame it on the monk that's drawing this thing, just not knowing. I think we need to resist the temptation to go too cray-cray with this stuff. I agree with that, Princess. I agree with that completely. Like, this background probably could do with being a little bit smaller, but I'm gonna make do. We're doing a map 1,000 years ago. A little inaccuracy is totally permissible. I gotta be honest with you, I have never been to Spain. I kind of would like to. It's got a huge amount of history. I wonder where our borders are. My borders are down here. So if I'm gonna move this underneath my borders. That might not be a good idea. Just so I can see what's going on. My travel bucket list is actually pretty small. Embarrassingly so, honestly, I would say. I think if I'm gonna be honest with you, I think part of that, not to blame my mom and dad in any way, but just our family were not big travelers, so my entire childhood almost lacked the wanderlust. And the only thing I really wanted to see with overpowering desire was America itself. Well, I'm here. And while I'd love to go to Japan and Spain, travel some historical military locations, Greece, Constantinople, I don't know, I spend most of my life like traveling to visit family or friends or conventions and not getting anywhere else. You see on this map that I'm using for reference in the background, you see all of those little fires? I think they're like raiding points or something. I'm not quite sure. I want to get them on there as well. Somehow I want to get them on the map, but I'm not quite sure how. I don't want to get crazy with this stuff in the center here. It's kind of, I feel almost visually confusing. I mean, look at this here. Look at this shape right here. That doesn't make any sense to me. There's something weird with the underlying sort of reference. So I'm just gonna like hit on things like this one right here, and we'll just keep it simple. We'll keep it simple. Am I understanding that these lakes are kind of doing this type of thing? Oof, look at those. Okay, we'll come back to them. Yeah. Yeah. Like anywhere that we have like these settlements like these, even further inland, like this one, if we've marked this, then they must have traversed this river right here. So I'm going to actually keep the settlement showing because I think that will help me. It might be visual overkill. I'm not going to lie. It may be visual overkill. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. I think I might try marking them on, but I might mark them on with some kind of, you know, like a wolf head or something like that. Or maybe like a Viking symbol of some description, or I should say a Nordic symbol of some description. I mean, that would be kind of fun, right? So, where is the Dickens this river going? I'm gonna come back to that. I'm sticking with the north. That river is confusing me. So Jack and I have actually changed our routines a little bit. Because obviously we both have day jobs at the same time, right? And we have started actually cooking. What is going on here? I know, I'll join it there for now. We've started doing our main meal during the middle of the day. And so we actually just more snack at night, truth be told. And we've got some Chinese leftovers from the weekend. So, fun story about the weekend is obviously it was Gary Khan. And we would normally be there in person. And if we were there in person, you know, we'd be eating out, we'd be drinking, we'd be having fun with friends. So we actually vowed to order in more and to have a lot more fun like we normally would over a weekend, like just let off the shackles, like money wise. And so we ordered in every single night because it's convention time, and so we have a lot of that left over. Look at the big lakes in this. I'm not going to actually try to replicate them. And this comes in there. This Christian monk wouldn't know all of this, but I'm going to connect all of these little things. Just so we kind of got like this lake district area. Here we go, something like this. Did this river go all the way through? No way. No way. There's something odd going on there, so I'm not going to join it. I think that comes out over there. Let's do that. That will do it. Hey, country breakfasts are good, princess. Not gonna lie to you. That sounds pretty damn nice. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Alright, something like this. Let's see what we're dealing with here. One of Jack's big food likes is actually breakfast food. Anytime. Anytime. He loves breakfast food. But yeah, the way that Jack and I approached GaryCon this year, you know, being virtual and everything, honestly, kind of made it almost like a real convention for us. I had a lot of fun at GaryCon this year. I'm not gonna lie to you, virtual or otherwise. It was a good time. Good time. Got those Gary miniatures painted. That was fun. That goes up there. I feel like it's trying to tell me that there's a river here, so I'm gonna do this. it's trying to tell me that it does this. Princess used to cook up pancakes as a teenager. Nice. Nice. So in England, we have something called Shrove Tuesday. And historically, it's the only day, typically, where English folk cook and eat pancakes. Pancakes were not a big breakfast thing in the UK. I remember bringing my mom over, my whole family really, but I brought my mom over and I took her to IHOP and she was just blown away. She was blown away. My dear little mama, she weighs absolutely nothing and she gained like 10 pounds during 2 weeks of being here in the United States. Of course. Like this whole concept of, you know, there being maple syrup on the table and you can have as much as you want. She was like, what? Any of them? Just for free? Yep, Mum. Yep. That's slower. She didn't know what to make of that. Because in England, at least when I lived there, they would charge you for that shit. You get this little tiny vial of maple syrup. You pay for it. Hotcakes and pancakes. I don't. So they might have had the term hotcakes somewhere in the country, but it wasn't familiar to me. We had the term pancake, and I'll tell you this: they were way more like crepes, and I didn't know that at the time. But British pancakes are way more like crepes. We would have sugar. One of my favorite things as a kid was sugar and lemon juice. That stuff was so good. Straight up drinking lemon juice and suck on lemons. That's pretty hardcore. That's pretty hardcore. I have a pretty good tolerance for lemons because I occasionally do a cleanse, and I'm thinking about doing one here shortly to get out on the other side of the COVID weight to put on. But lemon juice, maple syrup, and cayenne pepper. But it's like almost pure lemon. Oh, and water, of course. I think we're done messing around with rivers. Now the question is, I might actually have to add a little bit of glow to the rivers, just to make them stand out. Because they're not really. Let's try changing the colour of the rivers. Alright, so one thing we can play around with is we can actually do a colour overlay. And we can change them to anything we want, like that, for example. So what about like a super light blue? In fact, I would even argue that this is way more visual and engaging. Maybe gold? No, we're not going to do gold. Not gold. Something like this. Something like this. Still thinking about a bit of a glow on it now. Princess, your neon blue suggestion came through just about the same time I did a neon blue. You see, that's too dark. So they stand out pretty good, don't they? Now, I don't want to over-engineer this, but what I want to do is... So, I kind of want to... Let's do a little bit of an experiment here. So I'm thinking about, fairly simply, you know, do something like this. And if we did them in a few places, and then we colour them in. I'm not sure what colour to do the trees because my land is green in and of itself. So this may not work very well, but just like, you know, experimenting. Gonna use dear old England for this experimentation. In fact, let's do these while we're here. And I did these on the wrong layer, so I'm going to redraw as I need to. Let's see if we can really pump up the detail on this. What layer is that on? Is that on my settlement layer? It is, you little bugger. All sorts of wrong layers. And then if we do... I want to keep it really super simple. I think the print size is going to be something like that. I think he's doing a 2-page spread. We're going to have Alan Barr from Gallant Knight Games with us next week. Or the week after. I think it's the week after. So we could talk to him about things like this. But I think something like that, and occasionally we'll do a little hill or mountain, I think will look really freaking sweet. It's going to be like Britannia, but bigger. Yeah, this shade of green works, right? And if we do that, but then, you know, we do like a little bit of a spray brush. Oh, Oh, I'm still on the zoom. But we do a little bit of spray, just a little bit of detail. Not too much. In the top left corner. We can get a nice little tree effect going on. And the black ink we did in the bottom area, and again, I don't want to over-engineer it. I want it to look more like someone has actually been inking this thing. So I'm going to let the ink sort of shine through. I think that looks pretty nice. And then that just leaves something like... let's say, how do I wanna draw? Oh, what are my actual historical references here? Let's go to our historical references. Not that one. I had some styles, and I think I deleted them out of this map just to minimize resources. Here we go. Okay, so. This map here, this is called like the Valona map. Like simple hills and mountains, just dead simple. Maybe something like that. Yeah, that's not gonna work. I've got these for inspiration for border colors, by the way. They are my grounding rod for reminding me that I've got to go almost pretty garish. That was an actual old map. So when people tell me that I should draw it more authentically, I just bring out this and go, so what? Like, so it looks like shit? No, we're not doing that. That's inspiration just for borders and everything around the period. Like, this is a little too early, but around the period that we're typically talking about. Hold on a sec, this is a dear friend. I have to hang up and then tell him that I am literally midstream right now. I don't normally do this, but... how do I just... wow. Apparently can't use my phone. Can't figure out how to use my phone. Alright, so where were we? We were... this is another one for colours. I love the colours in this one. This one is funny, but also garish border. So I use this as reference. Same. I mean, look how garish that is. But, yeah, beautiful. Likewise. And... let's keep going. That was a visual reference. I liked this one. Another visual reference. Another visual reference. These are earlier incarnations of my map. It's nice to see it all iterating. Visual reference, visual reference. That one, yep, okay, visual reference. Naming reference. I use that for some general reference, things they knew about. Naming reference, really love this one. This one's a great resource. It's freaking huge, but that's the one we were using earlier on. Is that it? Is that... that's everything. Okay, okay, okay. Well, I guess we'll just make up our own styles. And I'm going to do it... well, actually, let's call this the trees and... yeah, this is land details. Land details. Because that means we can sort of do things sort of like you know, this, and this is behind our settlement, so we're okay. And again, we'll kind of use the similar sort of using ink on the bottom right. Let's see if we can pull this off. Let's see if we can pull this off. And we're going to colour these in too. And I'm not sure, actually, what colours to do these in. The question is, do we go to, like, well, I'm actually really tempted, actually. So if we did a little bit of detailing on the trees. Something like that. Maybe we don't actually colour in the hills. Maybe we just let the hills stand like that. I'm actually really a big fan of that, actually. And then what if we did a little bit of airbrushing on the top of the hill where, you know, maybe they're a little bit more mountainous. And we do something like that. And we kind of just leave it. Now, the reason why I've gone with hills in the middle of England is, yes, they have mountains in the middle of England. I've driven over them. But they're not really mountains by everyone else's standards. So I'm just going to keep that a little bit more modest, I think, right there. So something like that could work. And if we did that all over the map, we've got trees, hills, we'll do mountains and settlements. And we do that all over. That would be pretty freaking boss, I think. That looked really cool. I think that could win. Can't do Stonehenge on this scale, girl. You've got Stonehenge on the Roman map. You get henges on most of my maps. We can't do it on this one. Can you imagine how small it would be? And I don't think the Vikings would give a shit, right? I don't think the Christian monk drawing this map would give a shit. So let's do something like this. I kind of like it. I kind of like it. So let's go back to this bush. Let's shrink down and yeah, let's I think this will work. Let's get the highlands. Got to do the highlands. Let's just make sure this is going in the right direction. Let's colour those in a little bit. Get some trees on there as well. I think so. I think so. I think so. And by the way, I'm not looking for geographic accuracy on this. I'm looking for an approximation. This I think works. I'm okay with this approach. So I think the approach I'm going to take. Here's my concern. If I do the mountains and the hills first, and if I do the mountains and the hills first, I'm going to fill in all of the space where I want to draw trees. So I'm tempted to do the trees, but if I go heavy with the trees, I'm probably going to lose the mountains, or space for the mountains. I need to be able to intertwine them, but I don't want to do them all at the same time. So I think I'm gonna do trees first. I'm gonna do trees, and I'm gonna stick to areas that I feel would be a little bit more fertile. The northern coast or the northern area of Spain here, coming up into France and Normandy. Then that leaves this area for making it maybe the odd little tree here and there, but mostly hills and such. Lots of hills down here. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do our trees first. Yeah, let's do it this way. Let's do it this way. That way I can stay absolutely focused on my tree style, my sizes. I can keep everything consistent. If I start bopping around here and there, I'm just going to start screwing things up. And then we'll come back through and we'll do some colouring on this. We can do a bunch of trees, but I was looking at medieval maps. Actually, I went from early medieval, Dark Ages, all the way through to 1300s, 1400s, just to get a sense of what people were doing on them. And I didn't see too many bunches. You know, you know me. This is my kind of almost usual style, and I do copses and things like that. I should actually ensure that I do some evergreens. I should do that. But yeah, maybe in Normandy and such. Maybe we'll do a little bit of that. I don't want to make this my usual style though. I'm trying to pull myself to a simpler style, if that makes sense. And they tended to do individual trees. It's almost like, think of it this way. I need the grounding rod. I need that one thing that I always pull back to. Otherwise, I'll start to just drift back into my usual style if I'm not careful. But I don't think it hurts to have a couple of bunches, right? Now, if you're wondering about the colouring on these, let's just colour this in, because I'm actually doing a lot of drawing over the coast. So these will end up looking more like, is that the right? No, that's my lighter colour. They will look more like this once they're coloured in. I'll just do these here so you get a sense of things. In fact, let's do this one too. then when we go that little shade lighter, in fact, I don't want to do it that way. I do want to actually use the spray brush. Spray brush has got a nice softer touch to it. There we go, much nicer. I think that will look pretty spot on. I think that will look pretty. Princess, I think we can get away with maybe 2 or 3 bunches at a time, just not too many of them. I do want to keep them thin, like one tree implies a wood or a forest. But something like this, I think is going to look really nice. We're going to do this all over. Yeah. Switch back to that, switch back to this brush, size 10. There we go. Now I actually have a brush set of trees that I've been giving out to my patrons on Patreon. They're a little bit more detailed than this, but similar sort of principle. But I don't want to use a brush set, you know? I don't want to actually cut and copy these trees either. I've been very careful to avoid copying anything on this map. I want it to literally look like the monk behind it hand drew everything. I want the trees, the hills, everything to look unique. I want them to have even a level of imperfection between them. It will feel more authentic if I cut copy. Then you're gonna see, the eyes are gonna see it, and it will cease to feel like someone drew the map. That digital quality is going to start coming through. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid that. It will take a little bit longer, but it will be worth it. It will absolutely freaking be worth it. Organic. Organic's a good word. Exactly. It'll look more organic. Thank you, darling. And that's the thing I think about... I mean, I'm drawing digitally, okay? But that, I think, is the thing about... If you're going to do a map digitally, there are some great tools for doing it. In fact, we're going to review some tools for doing digital maps out on my YouTube channel here shortly. I'm going to get all of the tools, all of the top ones, and I'm going to use them, and we're going to talk about them. We're going to talk about what works well, what doesn't, yada yada yada. But here's the thing about whatever tools you use, it can be hand drawing, it can be digital, you know, using various programs. You have to avoid repetition. And do everything you can to try and avoid it. And I'm going to give you a real world example that involves me, so I'm not knocking anyone. I actually, I did a map for a client some years ago. And I don't know what layer that's on, so I'm going to ignore it for now. And it involved drawing trees a little bit like this, but I was doing them in bunches, you know, I was doing a lot of trees. And I started cutting and copying them. And to avoid the repetition, I started rotating them, flipping them and things like that, resizing them, recoloring them, different colors of the same shapes. My client, who I will admit has a very trained eye, he noticed. He actually said, I love the way that you were copying your trees and you were flipping them to kind of create unique things. He could see the patterns. The brain does that. The human eye does that. So where possible, especially on programs that are limiting the amount of tools that you've got, where maybe you're using some PNGs and maybe you've got 10 trees to choose from, I guarantee if you place 20 trees from those 10 templates, the human eye is going to go, that one and that one are the same. I guarantee it. So just fight against that everywhere that you can. Flip them, slightly resize them, recolor them. Do everything you can to break the repetition. But that's why I think it's important on this map to have no repetition and to hand draw everything from scratch, every single individual one. Like even these, like this little cluster of buildings here, some of these look very similar, but none of them are the same. And that's not me being like an elitist prig or anything like that. I just think if we want to feel that this was hand drawn 1,000 years ago, whatever, we got to go that extra length to not go paste, 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 paste. That's just my 2 cents for the evening. Oh, I'm not really super sure how far to bring in my trees and such. I'm pretty sure I can bring them almost all over the map. But I'm going to kind of follow the coastlines and everything for now. I'm going to kind of shoot up north into the Nordic regions themselves. And I think we're going to start drawing some furs when we're up there. It wasn't what I intended to do, but I think that's what we're going to do. Like my vision for this map, honestly, I'm going to zoom out for a moment. The vision for this map, when I was first asked if I would work on it, almost went no further than the water background we got and the border. That, and I got fixated on the border, and I love this border, and this border is going to kick ass by the time we're done. But how I was actually going to handle the interior of each country, I didn't know. And I didn't know until tonight that we were going to draw trees like this and vary them. Hey, Miss J, good to see you, young lady. It's been a while. I was thinking about you today. How have you been? I actually sent a client your way yesterday. I don't know if he has been in touch. Has. Okay, cool. I think about you way more often than you may think. It was up your street. I took the liberty, I hope you don't mind, of showing them one of your pieces in low res. I mean, they're after something much more zoomed out, but I thought of you immediately. I'm gonna start morphing this into some furs, I think. You know, maybe we do a region at a time to keep things spicy. Let's do that. Let's colour in these trees, and then let's do our hills and mountains and such in these very same regions. Let's do that. Let's pick a region, do it. Pick a region, do it. I much prefer that idea. Let's do that. And then that way we all get to see, like, much closer to finished product happening all of the time. That will be fun. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Time check. We have been streaming for only 1 hour and 5 minutes. We are good for at least 30 minutes more. Ooh, some quesadillas. That sounds good. You know what? Let's pick France and Normandy. I love a good quesadilla. Quesadilla is one of those things where it's a nice simple food, but oh so good. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I changed my mind on that one right there. And I think we'll do this. I think this is going to look really pretty. This is going to take me longer than I was expecting to spend on this map, but I think it will be worth the effort. Yeah, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. Fun! That's a bingo! Are there any volcano locations? I don't think there are any volcano locations. Actually, let me take this back. I was about to say there are no volcano locations in Europe. However, please welcome Greenland and Iceland. I'm pretty sure there might be. I don't know if we will draw them, but that would be an interesting addition. Maybe we will. But you know, so here's the deal. And I don't have any visual resources to show you, but because I've deleted them and I'll have to go and find them again. But the way that they drew things like that back then, yeah, they might draw like some kind of like, you know, very ominous mountain and shit like that. But they're going to draw a devil or something, you know, hugging this thing or climbing out of it. They're going to draw monsters on the map for that type of thing. So I don't want to necessarily go full on traditional and what you would expect for a volcano. We might go a little bit different with something like that. Imagine a Christian monk 1,000 years ago drawing a volcano. And they went all out, you know. He's going to draw this thing as like some kind of antichrist. So we will definitely be drawing lots and lots and lots of monsters on this map. Just as an FYI. This is a different style for me. But I think it's working. I think it's working. Let's colour in these trees. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. You remember learning what in middle school? Oh, the hot springs. I don't remember much of my middle school education when it came to this type of thing. Because we did some weird shit at my school. We learned, and bearing in mind, this is in England now, we learned about the American Indians. We learned about flint napping. Flint napping. Who the frick teaches flint napping at school? Now, that's pretty cool and everything, but you know why we did flint napping? Because our teacher did it himself. So he brings in a bunch of flint one day, and suddenly we're learning about flint napping. And then we did the history of the British canal system. And I think, honestly, that was like the highlight of everything we did. We learned nothing about the English Civil War. We learned nothing about European history. We learned nothing about world history. It was such a odd educational curriculum. Princess Stricker, flint napping is when you take a piece of flint and you strike it with a stone and you create, you've seen flint arrowheads and things like that, and they've got these, well, not only do they have the shape, but they follow like the striations of the flint itself, and you get this really sharp edge to it, and you can get flint knives and stuff that do the same sort of thing. That's napping. It's a case of, or the act of taking a piece of flint and striking it with stone, so you shape and create the edge that you want. It's a thing. I did that when I was about 13 years of age. I'm pretty sure it was because of teachers like that's why, like, modern curriculums go, yeah, let's have a bit of structure to this, because we got teachers just teaching any old crap. What layer did I draw that on? I must have done some of these trees actually on my colouring layer. God damn, did I really do that? Did I really just do that? I did. I'm going to have to come over the top of these with the ink on the proper layer. Wow. Wow, Faden. Wow. Good job. Good job screwing that up. Now what I could do though, so hold on a sec, hold on. How many of those did I do that on? Not that many. So I take that one back. Oh, no, wait a minute. Oh, hold on a sec. What if I get back to here? Yeah. So you are all on the wrong layer. Somehow. And then we paste you in. And we're going to move you like so, and then we're going to merge you with you, and then you is where we'll colour. That's better. Okay, now we're back. there's a certain amount of irony in that I used to live opposite an English canal. Like, right outside my bedroom door. Over the road, there was a canal system. And there was a lock there. And then there was a lock house on the other side of that, where the old lockmaster used to live. It's kind of so British, right? And as a kid, I would sit there in my bedroom and I would just be able to watch these boats like coming and going all of the time and using the lock. I got really intimately familiar with how the lock system works. And so then as part of our education system, we had to write a paper on the history of the English locks or canals, which, considering I lived next to one for many years, came as pretty easy to me. I think I did a pretty good job. But I have actually used that knowledge more in my adult life than the differential equations that my advanced education taught me. I've used differential equations zero. I have used my history of the British canal system once. I did play poo sticks in the canal. I did. With a very dear friend of mine called Helen. She's actually the person who introduced me to poo sticks. And as a kid, I stood on a bridge overlooking the canal, and Helen and I played poo sticks. That's also very quintessential English, isn't it? I actually didn't believe her that it was a game, that it was a thing. And then she showed me, because she was a massive Pooh fan. And she showed me, like, this cartoon of Pooh playing Pooh sticks. I learned something that day, my friend. I learned something. Alright, I'm gonna colour in these mountains and hills right here, and we are gonna take a look-see at how this thing is shaping out. But I think it is pointing in the right direction, without a doubt. Well, the whole thing about the British educational system, at least back then, Strigger, was you would do school. Now, bearing in mind, this is only accurate through to, let's say, 20 years ago, okay? But you would do school up until you were 16. And then you had an option of actually leaving school completely. You just leave school. You would do your O-levels, CSEs at the time. They may have a slightly different system nowadays. It may be, more standardized. They started to merge them and phase certain things out. So you would attend school until you were 16, and then you could optionally leave. Or you could stay on for 2 more years at school. And they were called, so that would take you to 17 to 18, right? And you would study your A-levels at that time. Those were advanced levels. Or you could go to like a local community college and do your 2 years there. You needed A-levels to get into colleges, that's what you call them here in the States. To us, they were universities. To get to universities or polytechnics, you needed A-levels. And to do that, you needed to have that extra 2 years of advanced education. So it was pretty complex. It was pretty complex. I think the system still works pretty much the same way. So, for example, if you wanted to get into something like Oxford, you got to be rich and probably connected. But you better walk out of school with like 4 A-levels that are high grade, you know what I'm saying? And typically you get 2 or 3 A-levels. So you got to be like a top freaking student. I wasn't. I got like 3 A levels, and they were kind of all over the place. And I learned differential equations in that 17, 18 2-year period. That's when I learned that. So it was kind of in that advanced education sort of phase, and I picked math. I don't know why I picked math, but I also picked computer science, and I figured math and computer science would go together. And I really liked computers at the time, and I thought that that's where my life was going to go. And, well, actually it did, because my actual day job is in computers. No, well, it wasn't just simply how many A levels you get. So A levels still stands for Advanced Certificate, right? And it's still scored on an A, B, C, D, E, F. F is obviously a fail. And you could get an A+, very much like the American system in that way. So just walking out with 4 A levels doesn't mean anything. A, what are the A levels in? And B, how did you score on them? If you've got like art and humanities and whatever else, and they're like C's, D's, and B's, then okay, it doesn't mean anything. But if you've got like 3 straight A levels, A's and A+, then you could pretty much pick the university that you wanted to go to. Now, my life took a slightly different direction because I actually took a job that paid you to go to university, and they called it a sandwich course. And you would work for X amount of time and get paid, and go to college or university for X amount of time and study and get paid for that too. I got that, this sandwich course system, and it was freaking awesome. I had so much money as a kid, it was ridiculous. Now, you got paid less because you're on the sandwich course, but you're getting paid. So I didn't work at like restaurants or anything like that at university. It was like I'm getting paid from over there. But then like every 6 weeks or every like couple of months, every 3 months, you'd go back to work to apply everything you just learned at university. It was so good. It was so good. I consider myself to be lucky. Nathan D. Craig. You know what? You might be the only person that's ever used one of my little emotes. I might be wrong in saying that, but I recognize the blue bean there. Thank you very much. How do I feel about this? I think I feel okay about this. Imagine a whole map covered in something like this. I think this is pointing in the right direction. This is looking okay. This is looking okay. Nathan, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. That really humbles me. Thank you. Miss J, I think we can only have 15 emotes on the Twitch channel or something like that. On my Discord channel, by the way, shh, gonna make the Discord public. But on my Discord channel, you can have like a lot of emotes very quickly. I've got something like 30 emotes on the Discord. I've actually got 60 drawn. On Twitch though, you can only have like 10 or 15 or something like that, and you need to get to like 3,000 followers and something ridiculous like 1,000 concurrent viewers before you unlock the next tier. So that's never gonna happen. You know what? That one for today's tunes works. Look at this little bippy boppy one right there. Oh yeah. Nathan, thank you. Actually, if you've ever got any suggestions for something you'd like to see, always feel free to PM me on any of the various channels where I'm at. I actually take requests like that very seriously. I, today, just got done with chapter 3 of a patron book that I'm giving out. So today it was like 8 pages of how to draw a city. And this is chapter 3. Which was 8 pages. I think it's going to probably hit 50, 60, 70 pages at the end of it. Each month I release a new chapter. And I'm doing new videos all of the time on YouTube for how to draw a city. So I'm doing a written version and a video version. And I'm going to record video 4 tomorrow. on how to draw a city. So yeah, if you ever like, how would you do this? Or how would you draw that? Hit me up, my friend. Hit me up. I am all about sharing what I've learned over the years. Princess. Yes. Yes, I will be. Yes, I will be. So each month what I'm doing is I'm doing this written version of a how-to guide. And I'm just going to do them forever. Right now I'm drawing a city because I get asked a lot, how do you draw a city? So I'm doing a step by step of how to do it. And then I'm going to collate them all and we'll release it. We'll release it out there into the world. So yes, Princess, absolutely, you will be able to get access to it on DriveThru. I'm really excited about it because honestly, right before the stream, which is why I was a couple of minutes late, I was working on that how-to guide. And I'm drawing buildings, and then I'm explaining what I'm doing and the thought process behind it, and what, like I'm trying to impart to you, like how to draw a city or a town or something in a way that emulates my style, but emulates my thought process. Because honestly, there are plenty of professional maps done of cities that are boring. They're just boring. So I'm trying to invoke a level of that, how to make your map super sexy, you know? Nathan, that is such good news. Thank you. God damn, man, I want to throw down my pen and say success. Thank you. I know exactly the video you're talking about. Thank you. Well, there's plenty more of those videos to come. Plenty more. That makes it worth it. Right there. Thank you so much. Miss J, you want Alyssa Faden Studios, so just hit me up on Alyssa Faden. I have Alyssa Faden as a personal channel, Alyssa Faden Studios, and there are definitely 2 videos available right now for how to, and then there's, and I think it's literally called how to, and then there's hold on, get lost, Miss J. You know how to draw a freaking city. You can emulate my style so closely, you scare me. I look at your work and think it's my work. It's so eerie. Get out of here. You don't need no hints and tips. Get lost. Get out. Get out. Anyway, Chapter 3 is currently out for Patreons only and will be coming public here in the next week or so on YouTube. Yeah, Nathan, it's there. So my pattern, by the way, is I release 2 videos a month on the how-tos. And I give them out to Patreons first, and then after a couple of weeks, then they become public. And episode 3, or chapter 3, has been available at least for a week. I think it might be very close to becoming public, so watch out for that one. Watch out for that. And I'm recording episode 4 tomorrow. It'll be fun. It will be a fun one. Miss J, yeah, you can, honestly, you can point them. You know what, Miss J, ping me on Discord. I'll give you a couple of links to, what do they call it? The video collection, that thing. I'll give you links. I'll give you links. Playlist. Thank you, Jack. I'm doing Madonna over here. Yeah. Nathan, I am currently in Photoshop, but you can use GIMP. I'm not using Photoshop's advanced techniques or anything here for the most part, okay? I'm drawing on a Cintiq 24-inch HD Touch. It's basically a monitor that I play games on, but will lie flat. And you can draw on it. It's a touch monitor, so I could use my little Wacom pen here and draw. But I own a regular tablet. I own a Microsoft Ink. What do they call those things with the Microsoft pen? I own one of those, and everything I'm doing, you can do on one of those. I used to draw ink on paper. Everything I'm doing, you can do ink on paper as well. Quick time check. You know, I'm at the 1.5 hour mark. Let's draw a couple of other hills. Let's just go 10 minutes long here. So Nathan, you actually, honestly, the program itself is almost not important. I'm using Photoshop because I've had it for a long time now. But if I was like wanting to just test things out, then you could totally do that with something like GIMP or ClipArt. ClipArt Studio actually was recommended to me. Actually, and I don't know if you were around before, but I'm going to actually do a review of all of these tools. Incarnate, ClipArt Studio, GIMP, etc. And I'm going to post it to the YouTube channel. But what you've got is fine. I mean, look at me. I am quite literally using just a couple of tools. I don't like that one. I'm using just a couple of tools right here. As long as I can draw ink with some degree of pen pressure, that's preferable. And colour behind the ink, that is all you need to do to create maps like this. That's it. That is it. And I will say this to you, Nathan, as well. And I think I've said it in the videos that you've watched so far. Emulating or actually getting that hand-drawn feel is more important than being able to be pristine with your drawings. Especially on the type of some of the maps that you may be doing. Because if you are pristine, it will look computer generated. If you have slight imperfections of what you're doing, like a bit of green spilling out, for example, it will look more real. It will feel more pleasurable to the eye. Miss J, I'm with you on that. Can you imagine how daunted I am at the prospect of trying to learn a few different programs? And then review them? Can you imagine? I am not looking forward to that, but I'm going to give it a go. Ah, look at this. Look at this. I just drew all of them on the wrong layer. I just did all of them on the wrong layer. I forget to switch layers. Look at that. I always forget to switch layers. Princess. Right, you know what? We're going to make it a thing. Let's just get a couple of mountains drawn in here. Just for giggles. Just for giggles. Then tomorrow we are back. And tomorrow we are starting a new city project. So if you are interested in watching how I draw a city from scratch, tomorrow's stream is something that you're going to want to catch a hold of, okay? Whole new project. And just to give you a teaser, even though it's not this, when they first contacted me, they wanted a map that was my biggest map ever, and they wanted it to be Rome. Now, I since had some conversations with them, and they don't want it to be Rome, but they want it to be one of the biggest maps I have ever drawn. So Light Harbor, Lokatoy, Rykadon, awesome maps. Gaxmore, awesome map. We're about to start a project tomorrow that is bigger than any of them. So if you want to see how I go about it from scratch, from literally nothing on the page drawn, join me tomorrow. And once per week, until we've got this one done, and then it will take over, we will be drawing that map. It'll be a fun one. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what it's called. But it will become a name on all of our tongues moving forwards. You know, I know there's a certain amount of imperfection at school, but that is too much of an imperfection. Did I finish Necropolis, Princess? Yes, I did. Necropolis is finished. Nathan, look forward to seeing you. I finished Necropolis. God, when did I finish Necropolis? Last week. When I had Zach Glazer and Jennifer Glazer on the channel for Gallant Games, that's when I finished Necropolis. So what was that? Last Wednesday? Last Thursday? Last Wednesday. Last Wednesday. Whoa. Whoa, 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 son. Whoa. Apparently my Photoshop is picking up on some things I'm literally not doing. Well, last night I had two guests on that were doing a lot of talking about Star Trek. Last Wednesday, did they talk about Star Trek last Wednesday? I don't think so. It was a guy and his wife. They might have mentioned Star Trek. He's a bit of a nerd. Hey, George, good to see you, my friend. Yeah, it definitely looked like a freaking meteor strike, didn't it? So, I wear this glove to minimize the touch of the side of the hand on the touch monitor. And it's still, I'm wearing two of them. I have two layers in here. And it still comes through. I actually blame Wacom, at least this iteration of their tablet. If I lean too far to that side of the screen over there, it will actually start to detect some weird ass things. I think it actually changes the tool I'm on. Then it starts placing these clip art bloody things. I had it a little bit last week going on too. I need to be careful, my trees are getting too small. I'm going to leave it for now, but my trees are getting too small. I need to bring them up in size. Third layer of glove, right? My hand is going to be like a claw. Ugh. Now, and I bought new gloves too. It's crazy. It's like, how is it detecting it through two gloves? But it might be time for me just to change my glove. We just might be there. All right, now there were hills here, so I want to make sure I actually capture this. I'm going to draw one behind this. And then I think when we come back to this map, I'm going to color these in. I'm going to color these in right now. I definitely am going to color these in. So when we come back to this map, we're going to, I think, mark hills, the mountains. We're going to mark some mountains on the map to get a good sense. Can I go behind? Yes, I can. I kind of want to make sure that I'm capturing the main mountain ranges in Europe and Iceland and Greenland. And I'm kind of guesstimating it from memory right now, but I want to be more accurate than that. So when we next come back, that's where we're going to start. I kind of like this simpler style, you know what I mean? This is definitely agreeing with me. Midwest Miniature Guy! It's actually a small miracle, my friend, that you found me on. I'm actually running a little bit long on this stream while I'm finishing some things up here. I'm going to be finishing here in a couple of minutes. And actually, Midwest, I think your wife might have been trolling me on the Gary Con forums, because I posted one of my Gary Gygaxes that I painted over the weekend, and she said that she wanted a commission of one. And I looked at her name and I went, I recognize her. This is Tom's wife. And if she wanted a Gary Gygax commissioned, she would look to you. And I didn't know what to say to her, because I'm like, I could offend her if I'm not careful. Because she'll think I'm like not taking her seriously, but then is she taking the piss out of me? What's going on? So I figured, you know, I'll just ignore it because I don't want to offend her. But I think you might have a potential customer because you want a Gary Gygax. So I think that's a referral. I want my referral finder's fee. So this is going to be good. Imagine, this is actually going to be better than I thought. I haven't saved this map for the last hour and 45 minutes. Holy shit, I've not saved this map. I just did it right now. Holy heck. Anyway, now that I've avoided that particular mine, I think covering this map in trees and hills and mountains, I think it's going to be great. I think it is going to finish the land beautifully. I am tempted to give an outer glow effect to the rivers, but I will hand draw it and not use a layer effect. I'm going to reserve the right on that to come back to them. So we're going to keep drawing that all over the map. I want to be very careful. So here's the deal. I almost want to do a minimalist approach. I don't want to go too cray-cray, and I feel it is on the borderline of being too much. So I'm going to let that percolate a little bit, and I might throttle back some of the hills, I think. So it's a little bit like the trees. It's just trees here and there. But like, let's say delete that tree, that hill right there. Maybe delete that hill. So it's more of, there is a mountain here that represents a mountain range versus we're going to draw the range, you know? But I think this is definitely pointing in the right direction. Midwest, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we'll do that. Maybe I will do your wife a nice painted Gary Gygax miniature. Maybe we'll do that. Then one of my pizzas will be in your household, because I've got a lot of yours in mine. Maybe we'll do that. Princess, I agree with you. I think this is going to bring the map to life. And I did not actually visualize this. I didn't realize just how much the trees and the mountains and the hills were going to just add so much life to what is basically just... I knew that this was too plain. And adding like little settlements to it helps. I didn't realize that it would then start to take on a caricature of that. which I actually really like. And then when we zoom out and we look at something like that, I quite like it. I really quite like it. I think this is going to be a winner. This is basically taking our Britannia map and kicking it up a notch. I like this. And Gallant Knight Games have already stated an interest on doing Noble Dwarf canvas prints for this. Can you imagine this printed on canvas? Can you imagine how beautiful that will be? I'm getting one. I am getting one because it's just going to be stunning. It's going to be so gorgeous. Midwest, let's talk about it. We'll make something happen. Princess Straker, how much of a commission to Gary Gygax? I don't know, because I only, at this present time, own one Gary Gygax miniature. I had 3 of them. I painted 2 for Gary Con this year, and I gave them away after doing the job. And I have 1 left. I'm going to do 1 more Gary Gygax diorama. And I'm going to auction it off next year at GaryCon 14. So until I can actually acquire some more, I don't even know what I would charge. It wouldn't be that much. I actually managed to paint him in just 2 hours, which really surprised the heck out of me. Hand-painted book cover and everything, front and back. Hand-painted little sort of Hawaiian shirt. 2 hours on camera. Surprised the crap out of me, because I'm not a speed painter. And Princess, yes, I think this would scale up to a world map. I think it could. I think it could. So with that said, I think this is where we're going to leave Salt Walls of the Whale Road. I'm loving it. I'm beginning to get goosebumps looking at this map right now. Hopefully you're loving it too. Reminder, tomorrow I am back 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. We're starting a new project. It is a city map. Blank slate. Nothing drawn. I haven't even figured out the shape of the city. If you want to know how I draw my maps, tomorrow is a great time to join me on stream. I have a guide for how to draw maps on my Patreon. I have a video guide series on my YouTube channel, Alyssa Faden Studios. Go check it out. But tomorrow on Twitch, you'll be able to actually catch me starting from scratch. So that'll be fun. Join me tomorrow if you have an interest in that. But for tonight, for all of you lurkers out there, for all of you chatters, I really appreciate you hanging out with me. I truly, truly, truly mean that. If you are a patron of mine, I am going to spoil the crap out of you in a couple of days' time with the rewards. And you are going to get the 3rd iteration of the how to draw a city. It's 8 pages of pure sexy goodness. So I'm excited to share that type of thing with you. So until then, back tomorrow, new project, white paper, blank slate, pen in my hand. Let's draw a city together. Let's have some fun. Until then, everyone, have a great evening. I love you for hanging out with me tonight. I really mean that. I'll see you tomorrow night. Let's draw a city together. Until then, I'll see you all on the flip side. Good night, everyone.